A beautiful Monday afternoon to you and welcome to News at 2 on the People's Telly, OGTV. My name is Okpayemi Adeomi. We'll begin the news with the former Deputy Governor of Osun State, Senator Iyola Omishore, who has defected to the All Progressive Congress. Omishore had earlier arrived as polling unit at Ward 6 in Ile-Ife to officially defect to the ruling party and subsequently pick his membership card. Senator Omishore contested 2018 governorship polls on the platform of the Social Democratic Party, but went into coalition with the APC before the September 28 rerun. The extended meeting of leaders and elders of the All Progressive Congress in Ogun State Senatorial Districts will hold on Wednesday, 17th of February 2021. Venue of the meeting is Pavilion Empire Hall, Ilaro. A statement by the chairman of the party in the Senatorial District, Alhaji Mohammed Aziz, says the meeting will begin at 10 in the morning. The government of Ogun State has assured residents of the state, especially those of Yewa South and Yewa North local government areas, of adequate security and lives of properties. The government gave this assurance when a high-powered government official visited the area in response to the attack on some residents of Orile Igboro in the early hours of Saturday, 13th February 2021. Governor's Office correspondent Tunde Olaniro reports that the residents of the state were urged not to take laws into their hands, but cooperate with the government and all security agencies to prevent a repeat of such incidents. This reports.
In the early hours of Saturday, 13th of February 2021, the people of Orile Igboro in Yewa North local government area of Ogun State witnessed some ugly attacks. As a responsive administration, the government of Ogun State dispatched a high-powered delegation coupled with heads of all security agencies in the state to visit the area and arrest the situation.
Attacks and counter-attacks arising from these prevailing issues of herders farmers clash. The herders cows allegedly eating up the farm crops of farmers, and maybe the farmers also now having to respond and react in one way or the other. It's just unfortunate. We are working towards ensuring, that's why the governor sent all of us out to ensure that we restore normalcy in the relationship between both the herders and the farmers.
We received reports of herders, of criminals attacking some villagers here, and the reaction of the people, the locals in the community also, trying to chase away the Hausa Fulanis that are living amongst them. So the governor thought it wise that we should go around all the communities to build their confidence, to let them know that the government is there for them to provide security.
The Commissioner for Police, Edward Ajogun, and the Special Advisor to the Governor on Security, Olushola Subar, assured of safety of lives and property.
The government is establishing a task force comprising all the security agencies as well as the locals that will be permanent here, patrolling, as well as having to do some fixed point duties, that is stop and search, and where necessary.
First, we are going to have a stakeholders meeting. The governor is going to call all the stakeholders to a meeting. And then we have started the recruitment of Amotekun. We want Amotekun also to come into force immediately.
The team visited the palace of the Olu and paramount ruler of Yewa land, Oba Kehinde Olugbenle.
Let the vigilante start like yesterday, Commissioner. Let the government support us with logistics. While Amotekun recruitment is going on, KBC knows everybody. The palace know them. Let us have them in unit. That is the essence of community policing.
Then to the palace of the Eselu of Iselu, Oba Akitunde Akinyemi, who thanked the governor for his prompt response.
So this one will be the fourth one, that anytime we have issues or confrontation or chasing them out of our land, they will always come back for reprisal attacks. It's something we all used to know. This is the fourth one.
The government team addressed the people at Ibeshe, Ilaro, and Ojaudo, urging them to calm down and not be agitated.
We should not take law into our own hand. If you are saying we don't want Fulani in our midst, the Fulani can say don't want Yoruba in their midst over there, and there will be national crisis. We cannot afford to go in that direction. We cannot afford not to live together in harmony.
But be rest assured that this government is doing everything about your security from this moment onwards.
The government gave a toll-free emergency line of 112 to the people. Tunde Olaniro, OGTV News.
The federal government has distributed relief materials, food items to those in need in Ijebu-Ode, Odongbolu, and Ijebu Northeast Federal Constituency. Mrs. Margaret Ngozi Ukwebu, National Director, National Commission for Refugees, Migrants, and Internally Displaced Persons, performed the flagged off and handed the materials over to members of the House of Representatives, Honorable Kolapo Oshunsoya, who represents the constituency for immediate distribution. Bumi Adigun was there and he filed in this report.
They are refugees, migrants, returnees, and internally displaced persons in Ijebu-Ode, Odo-Bolu, and Ijebu Northeast Federal Constituency. And the federal government, through its relief materials distribution across the country, is putting smiles on their faces. These items, food and non-food, worth millions of naira, will be distributed here freely. Honorable Kolapo Korede Oshunsoya, who represents this constituency in the House of Representatives, is here with the federal government entourage to prepare them for the exercise.
All these items we are giving you today from the federal government. Don't go and sell it.
Right on time, the Southwest Zonal Director, National Commission for Refugees, Migrants, and Internally Displaced Persons, arrived to perform the flag off.
Well, for the meantime, this is for Ijebu-Ode. And of course, you know, the Honorable Federal Commissioner is passionate about ensuring that these items of relief reach every part of the country. So it's going to be in a gradual phase, but it will be done.
Honorable Kolapo Korede Oshunsoya thanked the federal government, the state government, and again assured his people of better representation with more dividends of democracy.
Well, we want to thank the federal government for bringing out this initiative. We are parleying with the National Assembly, which I'm the representative from this federal constituency. And what we are trying to do for us is a pack of relief to the entire nation, which this federal constituency is benefiting from the Ogun State. So we believe and we try to encourage the federal government to do more to the other federal constituencies.
The people expressed their gratitude and appreciated the government for the support.
We really appreciate, we really appreciate.
Since you have something to eat with your children, you won't think of going over there, because most of those people that went there is out of poverty.
I will be very frank with you, they have been so great to refugees in Nigeria. They have done so many things for refugees.
From Ijebu-Ode, Bumi Adigun, OGTV News.
An essential function of primary education is effective communication skill that will enable pupils to be relevant to the social and economic development of the nation. This was the view of respondents who spoke on the importance of primary education to child development. Oladipupo Olajumoke has the details.
In the 19th century, Western Europe made primary education compulsory as foundation for attainment of higher education. Section 4 of the National Policy on Education described primary education as the duration given in an institution for children aged between 6 to 11 years plus. This implies that primary education is synonymous with what could be best described as a foundation role in the entire education process, as it helps to equip children on the basics that is needed to communicate effectively.
One of the major issues that we find now in our own generation is that from the basic level, attention has not been given. The same way these schools have existed from the 80s is still the way they are.
When you look at primary education, it's called basic education. And as a lecturer in the university, I found out that if this foundation is faulty, then it will affect the performance of students even to the tertiary institution.
According to respondents, primary education ensures that a child is not deficient in the area of character and also helps such child to get acquainted with the essentials of what is morally expected of him or her within the confines of the society.
Government needs to look very seriously into that aspect of education because that is the foundational level. And if you don't get it right there, it distorts and affects other levels.
So, and when you look at education generally, it's one of the ways in which you develop individual. It's one of the socialization process. We call the schools an element of socialization process. And socialization is the process you integrate members into the society. For you to integrate a member into the society very well, the foundation must be sound.
They added that primary education is like laying the foundation of a building as it prepares the child to learn how to handle other levels of education.
It's like talking about you want to build a house and you need a very solid foundation. Primary education is the foundational level of other tiers of education.
So more investment should even be made on the foundation, the basic education, and it will be easier for us to achieve optimum results when we get to other levels of education.
They emphasized that primary education should be given much attention as it teaches the child to develop and uphold rich cultural and social values, which helps to form the child into a decent individual. Olajumoke Oladipupo, OGTV News.
Away from education, a fire outbreak has been reported at Ido Terminal, Ebute-Metta area of Lagos State. The incident, according to eyewitness, started on Sunday evening from one of the shanties close to the terminal, affecting warehouses and shops close by. The Director General of the Lagos State Emergency Management Agency, Olufemi Oke Osonyitolu, said the fire was caused by a power surge when electricity was restored at shanties behind the terminus. While there appears to be no loss of life, the agency is working alongside the federal fire service to control the fire and curtail the expensive spread of the flames. The Economic and Financial Crime Commission, Ibadan Zonal Office, has secured the conviction of a former Deputy Chief Registrar of the Oyo State High Court, Mutiat Adio. She was convicted after pleading guilty to a fresh charge bordering on obtaining money by false pretense and issuance of dishonored check. In a statement by the EFCC spokesman, Wilson Uwanjare, Adio was alleged to have obtained a 2000 model Toyota Pathfinder SUV valued at 1.5 million naira from one Fabumi Samuel at Fatai Olanrewaju Motors by pretending to him that it will be paid once the check is presented to her. The victim reportedly released the said vehicle to her, but the check was dishonored within 3 months of issuance for insufficient funds in the account. Upon arraignment, on January 30, 2018, the defendant had initially pleaded not guilty to the charges, but later changed their plea to guilty after a plea bargain arrangement, leading to the amendment of the charge. Justice Owolabi thereafter pronounced the defendant guilty of the offense and sentenced her to 3 years imprisonment. The court also ordered her to restitute to her victim the sum of 500,000, in addition to the sum of 1 million naira she had previously paid in restitution to the victim. An armed robbery suspect who had been terrorizing Obadaoko and its environs, Ibrahim Fatai, aka Hema, has been apprehended by men of Ogun State Police Command on the 10th of February 2021. DSP Abimbola Oyeyemi, the PPRO Ogun State Police Command, has said the suspect who violently dispossessed Tijani Sadiq of 120,000 naira and 2 bags of rice along Araromi Street on the 5th of February was cited by the victim, who quickly alerted the police. Upon the information, the DPO Obadaoko Division, CSB Bernard Edigboyan, swiftly mobilized his patrol team and moved to the scene where the suspect was apprehended. Preliminary investigations revealed that the suspect, who is the leading member of the Eye confraternity, led hoodlums who vandalized Obada-Oko Divisional Headquarters on the 21st of October 2020 during the NSAS protest. He has confessed to many cult-related fracas in Obada-Oko and its environs. Meanwhile, the Commissioner for Police, CP Edward Ajogun, has ordered the immediate transfer of the suspect to State Criminal Investigation and Intelligence Department for further investigation. He also directed that efforts should be on to apprehend the remaining members of the gang in order to put an end to their nefarious activities in the area. And on the foreign scene, Zimbabwe, one of the landlocked countries in Southern Africa, has received its first batch of COVID vaccine, President Emmerson Mnangagwa has said. The first batch of vaccine for Zimbabwe has been successfully delivered, while vaccination will start this week. President Mnangagwa, in a tweet, said, "The faster the country is protected against the virus, the faster the Zimbabwe economy can flourish." 4 government ministers have so far died of coronavirus in Zimbabwe, prompting the country to further tighten lockdown measures. Small groups of protesters have begun to gather in the Myanmar despite the armored vehicles which have appeared on the streets of several cities. The military's heightened presence is the latest sign of a potential crackdown on opposition to the coup it carried out on February 1st. Hundreds of thousands of people have taken part in protests over the last 10 days, demanding democracy be restored. They also want their elected leaders released from detention. But on Monday, it was reported civilian leader Aung San Suu Kyi should be detained for a further 2 days, according to her lawyer, Kim Mozalo. Meanwhile, Myanmar's military has warned anti-coup protesters across the country that they could face up to 20 years in prison if they obstruct the armed forces. Long sentences and fines will also apply to those found to incite hatred on contempt towards the coup leaders, the military said. The legal changes were announced as armored vehicles appeared on the streets of several cities. Hundreds of thousands of people have taken part in the protest in recent days. The demonstrators are demanding the release from detention of their leaders, including Aung San Suu Kyi, and the restoration of democracy in Myanmar, also known as Burma. In the world of sports, former champion Rafael Nadal and 4th seed Daniil Medvedev both cruised into the Australian Open quarters final. Spaniard Nadal, the 2009 winner and number 2 seed, gained a routine 6-3, 6-4, 6-2 win over Italy's 16th seed Fabio Fognini at Melbourne Park. Nadal will face Stefano Tsitsipas in the last 8 on Wednesday. The Greek 5th seed has ended a walkover win in round 4 after Matteo Berrettini of Italy had to withdraw because of an abdominal injury. American Jessica Pegula produced a shock win to knock out 5th seed Elina Svitolina and reach the quarter-finals of the Australian Open in Melbourne. The world number 6 won 6-3, 3-6, 6-3 on Rod Laver Arena to reach the last 8 of a Grand Slam for the first time. The 26-year-old will face fellow American Jennifer Brady, who beat Croatia Dona Vek 6-1, 7-5. Pegula had already seen off 2-time winner and 12th seed Victoria Azarenka in the opening round and reaches the first 16 without dropping a set. Meanwhile, world number 1, Ashley Barty, only needed 71 minutes to defeat American Shelby Rogers and move into the Australian Open quarters final. Barty, who is aiming to become the first Australian to win the women's singles since 1978, triumphed 6-3, 6-4. To round off the news at 2, dignity of labor has to be our national duty. It has to be a part of our nature. You can now watch us live on this platform: Apple, Roku, Facebook, and Android devices. You can also watch us live on OGTV website, www.ogtv.com.ng/live. Many thanks for joining us on the news at 2. Good afternoon.
ètò kí ló ń ṣẹlẹ̀ dọ̀ wàrà òjò ó balẹ̀.